As the world entered 2025, the British royal family stood on the precipice of dramatic change. King Charles's reign, although historically significant, was beginning to feel the weight of the monarchy's future pressing down on him. Prince William, the next in line, was poised to take the throne one day, but the role that Catherine, Duchess of Cambridge, would play in shaping the monarchy's future was becoming ever clearer. Princess Catherine was no longer just the quiet, graceful consort to William. She was the modern face of the monarchy, the one who would need to lead the family into the 21st century. For years, Catherine had been the picture of royal poise, always composed, always appearing in control. She was adored by the public, a role model for young women, a fashion icon, and a compassionate advocate for children's mental health and education. But what the public didn't see was that Catherine's patience, the quiet diplomacy she mastered so well, was not simply about maintaining the status quo. It was about something far grander, something that only a few in the royal family truly recognized. Catherine had been biding her time, calculating her next moves. In 2025, the first signs of a subtle shift became impossible to ignore. While the media continued to idolize Queen Camilla for her steadfast role as consort to King Charles, the royal watchers began to observe the nuances of Catherine's growing influence. She was no longer just the supportive wife to Prince William. She was a strategist, shaping the future of the monarchy with quiet authority. At state events, it was becoming evident that Catherine wasn't simply attending as a dutiful wife. She was there to lead, and people were starting to notice. Her speeches began to address broader themes, far beyond the traditional focus on charitable causes. Her speeches began to touch on the future of the monarchy, the need for transparency, and the importance of evolving with the times. Her words were deliberately crafted, speaking not just for herself, but for the future generation of the British royal family. As the year unfolded, Catherine's appearances at high-profile events were marked by a sense of quiet dominance. There was a growing belief that she was preparing to take on a larger role, one that would reshape the royal family for generations to come. Her elegance remained intact, but her power was palpable. And with each passing month, her ambition became clearer. Yet, even as Catherine began to assert her place in royal affairs, there was resistance from Queen Camilla. Camilla had fought for years to solidify her position as queen consort to King Charles. Having endured years of public criticism and scrutiny, she had become a symbol of survival. However, her calm was beginning to falter as Catherine's rise was impossible to ignore. Camilla's kingdom, built on her loyalty to Charles and the monarchy's traditions, now faced a threat from within. Then came the announcement that would change the course of the monarchy's future. At a state dinner in April 2025, the British royal family gathered in a rare moment of unity. Dignitaries, heads of state, and members of the royal household were in attendance, yet the focus of the evening shifted unexpectedly. The world was waiting for King Charles to make a statement, one that was both unexpected and explosive. With all eyes on him, King Charles made a remarkable announcement that sent ripples through the royal family and beyond. In his speech, he declared that Princess Catherine would assume a larger role within the royal family, a role that would extend far beyond the duties traditionally held by the consort of a future monarch. This was no simple appointment. It was a sign that Catherine was being groomed to become the true face of the monarchy, the symbol of a new era. This was not just a ceremonial nod to Catherine's increasing popularity, or her charity work, this was a statement of power. The shift was a deliberate acknowledgement that the monarchy needed to evolve, and Catherine was the one who would lead that transformation. Her name was now not just tied to Prince William, but to the future of the crown itself. At first, the announcement was greeted with surprise, then curiosity. Catherine, who had always been the picture of modesty, was now stepping into the spotlight in a way that was impossible to ignore. She was no longer just the Duchess of Cambridge. She was an integral part of the monarchy's future. Her role was growing more influential by the day. But while Catherine's rise was celebrated by some, there was a darker undercurrent that began to emerge. Queen Camilla, who had long fought for acceptance within the royal family, began to feel the threat to her own position. For years, Camilla had struggled to be seen as legitimate, despite her marriage to King Charles. Her reputation was a complicated one, but she had always found solace in her deep connection to the royal family's traditional values. Now, however, she found herself in a precarious position, with the monarchy's future being shaped by the very woman she had once seen as a rival, Catherine. As the months passed, the rivalry between Catherine and Camilla became more pronounced. On the surface, both women maintained the image of cordiality and unity within the royal family. But behind closed doors, it was clear that there were deep-seated tensions that threatened to tear apart the carefully constructed image of royal harmony. Camilla, once the symbol of strength and endurance, now faced an opponent she could not easily dismiss. Catherine's rise was not merely a matter of becoming more visible. It was about redefining the monarchy in a way that was both modern and powerful. Catherine understood the shifting sands of public opinion and knew that the monarchy could no longer survive on tradition alone. The people, especially the younger generation, wanted something different. They wanted a monarchy that was more transparent, accessible, and willing to evolve with the times. Yet, as Catherine made her mark, she knew she was walking a delicate line. Her loyalty to William and the monarchy was unquestionable, but she also recognized that her role in the future was far from secure. She had to ensure that she wasn't simply seen as the supportive wife, but as a leader in her own right, capable of influencing royal decisions, guiding the monarchy into the future, and taking on a role that Queen Elizabeth II had once held. For Camilla, this shift in power was deeply unsettling. While she had always valued her loyalty to the crown, she was now faced with a woman who wasn't just loyal to the throne, but who was willing to reshape it in her own image. The tension between the two women grew, and it wasn't long before rumors started circulating that there was a quiet, but fierce rivalry between them. At private family events, the contrast between Catherine's poised confidence and Camilla's more reserved demeanor became increasingly apparent. The undercurrents of tension were becoming impossible to ignore. The media, always keen to capture a hint of discord within the royal family, began to speculate on the shifting balance of power. Who would dominate the future of the monarchy? Would it be the woman who had endured the public scorn for years? Or would it be the woman who had quietly built her own foundation of influence? As the royal family approached a crossroads, there was no denying the growing tension between Catherine and Camilla. The monarchy's future was no longer just about the next king. It was about the women who would shape its legacy. Catherine's role was expanding, and with it, the possibility of a future in which she would emerge as the true power behind the throne. But Camilla wasn't going to relinquish her position without a fight. For all of her quiet strength, she had always been the woman who had survived the most intense public scrutiny to claim her rightful place beside her husband. Would she quietly step aside, or would she fight to preserve the traditional values she had worked so hard to uphold? As the royal family entered a new era, the world watched with bated breath. Who would win this battle of power and legacy? Would Catherine's influence usher in a new dawn for the monarchy, or would Camilla's tradition prove too strong to overcome? The answers to these questions would determine not just the future of the monarchy, but the direction of the British royal family for generations to come.